And this is the August 31st, 2021 meeting of the College Millbrook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chair, just move the flag over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good to see you. So, Sarah, can you do a roll call of trustees, please?
Yep. Mayor Falke?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Herzog?
Here.
Trustee Contino? Here. Trustee Arbogast? Here. Trustee Anson? Here.
Okay, thank you. So just so you're aware, for this meeting, we are broadcast, we're not doing it live. We're going to do a by laptop, right? Just the audio and video from the laptop.
Correct. So
we don't need your microphones. So I would encourage everyone to always speak at the appropriate time and not mix conversations, all right? So you get some good audio. So this is a special meeting. There's 3 topics on the agenda. The first is the Bennett College Demolition Fee. The second is the police contract with the Millbrook Central School District. And the third one is a discussion about the upcoming community day. So the first topic, just to clarify, we are charging the Bennett College LLC $5,000 for them to receive a demolition fee. Okay, and this is a special fee where it's not in our regular rates, which is why we're having a review by the board to approve this special fee of $5,000. So just to clarify, this is the LSC is going to pay the village of Millbrook $5,000 to receive a demolition fee for them to start the demolition of the college. Any questions about that? What we're doing?
You say it's a special fee, is it less than what we would charge?
No.
More than what we charge?
So what it is, it's a unique fee. So it was established by Kevin Blockman, who is our CEO of this, Chief Enforcement Officer, and he determines the appropriate fee versus what he does in other municipalities and bridges off of what we charge today. So if he said to me, for example, the cost to demo an entire house is typically about $800. Okay? And he determined that $5,000 is a fair fee consistent with what we do here in the season of the municipalities. Okay? Any questions from those in the audience about that? Yes,
that
yeah.
applies to all the buildings.
And that's a demo fee that covers for all buildings, yes. That's one fee. Okay. That allows them, once we approve that fee, will allow them to get the permits from New York State to actually start the demolition. Okay. So I want to make a motion that we accept the $5,000 from the LSC in order to approve the demolition of the Bennett College. Can we get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, Sarah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is the contract we have with the Millbrook Central School District. So every year, we contract with the school to provide police support as requested by them for school events. For example, for football games. They would like to have a police presence there on the football field in case there's any issues in the crowd that they need to take care of. There are other events that they call us, they're not specified here. Basically, this is a contract with the school that says they will pay an hourly rate, which is equal to basically the maximum of the salaries of the police officers. And we also charge them an equipment fee, and there's a minimum fee associated with them. So they can't, unless it's for more than, I think it's 3 or 4 hours. If they go beyond that, then there's an additional fee. All right? And the contract, which I sent to you all, take a look at it, includes in there the table that justifies how they came up with the fee of $42.88 per officer hour. Any questions about this contract or the fee schedule? This is basically the same contract we did before, except we updated the fees to reflect the current salaries. And of course, we gave it to Ian to look over. And of course, I never know where it touches the contract, gets some changes. We made a couple of changes, which we worked out with their lawyer, and we're both satisfied with it. Okay? So, can I get a motion to accept this contract for the police to supply support to the local social schools?
I'll make that.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Now, what happens is, based on this, I will sign the contract as the mayor, and it'll go to the board, the school board, at their next meeting, which is September 7th, and we'll do the same thing, and expect that they will be soon to do it. Okay, that's item 2 on the agenda. Okay, the next item has to do with discussion about Community Day. And Kevin's here just in time. So Kevin, I'd like you to kick off the discussion. Bring to us what's the MBA's perspective of whether or not we do Community Day this year. Now, Sarah, where should he go and how should he present to make sure he gets picked up by the laptop? What's the recommendation?
I'd say probably Kentucky.
You want me to stand up there?
Yeah, we're going to have this recorded by the laptop, so we need you to be not so much video line, so much as the audio. It's got a microphone.
Yes, it picks up
on
mic.
this side of the laptop.
Yeah, or between Leslie and Buffy, it's your
How's
choice.
that? Just over there?
No, the microphone will pick me up right here, right?
Yeah, I guess yeah, it should.
He likes his picture anyway, so this is ideal for him. Okay, Kevin, President of the NBA.
Okay. First, I'm going to start with, I took over the Community Day 2 years ago as a village trustee. And the Community Day for the last number of years before that was run by the village and the town together. The NBA this year has decided, because I'm the president, it was more me that I said, we'll do it, because nobody else was going to step up.
Okay.
And I thought 2 years ago was a great day. And as you know, we had to cancel last year with COVID, of course. We did a survey of all our members. Very few responded. I did have to go around and call people and also visit people to see how they felt about doing Community Day. A number of people said yes, but they're not doing anything for Community Day,
Oh,
which didn't help us. There are a couple people that said, yes, we should do it because it's outside, and yet those three are also not doing it. Thank you very much. I talked to Mary Alex, who for a number of years ran it. She knows what's involved. I will tell you that we've been very slow on setting it up. We have not done our posters. I did have the banner changed. The library just 2 hours ago sent out their schedule for what they were doing for the day. We did tell them we weren't sure if it was 100% go ahead. I talked to the VFW. They're unsure whether or not they want to do it. Mary Alex said we should cancel it, and that she knows what it's like. 2 years ago, our positivity rate for Dutchess County was less than 1%. As you know, our positivity rate now is 4.5% yesterday. I know that not everybody, a number of people have said, yes, it's going to be outside, but if you have 6 people standing around a table talking, it doesn't matter that you're outside. You're in close proximity. If you all saw the email from All That Java, where they had 24 people outside for a get-together with social distancing, 10 of them were positive from COVID from that day. 8 of those 10 were vaccinated. I, a couple weeks ago, got COVID. I'm vaccinated. Spent a number of hours at the hospital over 2 days. First day sitting out in the parking lot because they had too many people to take care of inside. And had to go back the next day to have my treatment. If it was just up to me, I would cancel it. But it's not just up to me. Being that it was the village and the town that used to run it as well, I think that they have a right to say something as well. I know that we're starting school on September 8th. The kids are required to wear a mask, as well as the teachers and all of the, if I'm not mistaken, it's September 8th. A mask is required. I don't know if they're going to have a number of cases once school starts, and Community Day would be 10 days later. An indication of how parents feel about kids being out in the public is the recreation department has a soccer program. They have less than 100 kids that are signed up. Normally there's I talked to Chelsea again, between 170 and 180 that are normally part of this project. Curious as to how all of you feel. Still waiting, by the way, to hear one group that we were worried about was the Southern Baptist Church because it is a fundraiser for them. Still have not heard back from them.
Still what?
Still have not heard back from them.
Haven't heard.
Did I mention the VFW? They're not sure whether they are going to do it. I would like to know how you all feel.
Okay, so let's go through one question I have for you. Is there a need for a assembly permit to be issued by the village? Is there anything in the community that requires an assembly permit?
I don't know. I
Is
didn't
there
do, I don't
any
think I did.
marches planned, any,
I'm sorry.
are there any parades, are there any?
Oh, no, we're not
streets?
doing a parade. We're not doing a baking contest. We've already know that we're going to cancel a few of the events because the rec department didn't want to do a parade. They're now going, they believe if we do have Community Day after soccer, they will have a tennis event.
Tennis?
A tennis event, which of course means that it won't be on Franklin Avenue because they're going to separate, they'll be separate. I'm not sure what the fire department is planning. They were playing it by ear last time I talked to them.
Okay. So
And I know that you answered that you would be there greeting people and, you know, even,
But let's do this, let's go through each of the board members, and I might hear from the public as well,
okay.
and then we'll come back to you, okay? The public, by the way, public assembly permit question I had.
Oh, I don't know the answer to that because 2
Well,
years
actually,
ago.
I asked,
didn't-
I think Sarah Garop, I asked Nicole to check the record book, and there's no record that we've got of any prior community day having a public assembly permit.
Is that because it was the village doesn't need it? Because it was done by the village last the 2 years.
I'm assuming that's
I
true.
would think so, yeah.
What?
And because the village was sponsoring it for the most part, there
Oh.
was no outside
I see.
agency or volunteer group who was sponsoring it, it was the village.
And before that, it was the town, so you might not have
Okay,
required.
fine.
And years before, it was the MDA, but the MDA gave it up
I see.
because they felt it wasn't really benefiting
I
them.
do know, Sarah told me that our insurance policy does capture Community Day as one of the events that's covered
I believe so.
by
Okay.
default.
Will that cover kids who get COVID, that they can,
No.
okay, just checking.
Let's go through the board. So, Vicki, what's your perspective? Pros, cons, opinion?
Honestly, it doesn't sound like there's much appetite for it. And for that reason, I would say let's cancel it. But I do have a question, like how does it serve as a fundraiser? For instance,
Oh,
Baptist
the
Church?
fundraiser was the Southern Baptist Church because they do fried chicken out on the lawn in front of George Whalen Insurance and Real Estate Office.
And the VFW used to sell.
And the VFW does sausage and pepper.
I see.
And the firehouse used to have this, have their chicken.
Well, the firehouse stopped doing it because everybody went to the Southern
Oh, that's
Baptist
right.
Church for the better chicken. Sorry.
And then in the old days,
They
we used
couldn't
to do the
compete.
Lions Club. We always get undercut by the deli. So, anyway. That's about the only fundraisers we're aware of, right?
Yes.
MAG doesn't go on and sell raffle tickets, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
You know, I just don't feel like there's going to be that much interest in it based on what you've told us.
Okay.
I mean,
I agree.
there are some that are very interested and others that don't do it. And a number of people are like, either way, I don't care. Which
Okay.
doesn't help.
So Vicki, your net is that you don't see a lot of interest.
I didn't get the sense that there was
So,
enough given the risks.
Yeah, okay, Mike?
The last time we discussed this, I said I thought based on the fact that there was little interest on many people's parts, and the fact that the infection rate had gone up to close to 5%, that it was not in our best interest to have it outside or not. So I set out my recommendation last meeting was to cancel, and I feel the same way. I don't think it's a wise idea, despite the fact it's going to be outside. It's just a little, I think dangerous is extreme, but I just think it's really just not really appropriate at this point.
Not worth the risk, you think?
Yeah, not worth the risk, I guess is a good way to put it.
Okay. Prior to saying that your response back from the MBA, which is going to dishearten to me.
Well, it's 50-50 from the board,
Yeah, but it's,
and a number of businesses are not doing anything.
I would like to see it. I think it's in the category of the farmer's market, as far as socially distancing and interacting with the businesses. So part of me says, well, if we're not going to do that, then why are we in the farmer's market? I don't want to go there. But
Can
see a lot
I
of
interrupt you one
commonalities.
second? You do not get the crowd at the farmer's market that you would get at Community Day. I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but
Okay.
it might be if we have a low turnout. I think we could scale back things to make sure people stay socially distanced, like the Democrats just had their sand thing, right?
Yeah.
The kids all crowded around, that probably would be not a smart thing to do.
And we've already discussed this at that meeting, and we're not doing the sand activity this year for exactly that reason, because we don't feel it's appropriate to have kids crowd around the table.
Sure.
Close proximity, trying to use, passing each other funnels and other things, just the sanitizing part of it would drive us crazy. It just wouldn't work.
So my net is, I'd like to do it. I'd like to see the MBA be, motivated to want it done. I'd like to see it as a cause for people to come into the village and spend money with the businesses.
Right.
And if the businesses are kind of neutral about this thing, then I don't know that we should.
Well, if you heard what I said before, when the MBA gave it up, the reason why they gave it up is because they felt the businesses did not profit from
Yeah, okay.
Community Day. So
That's unfortunate, but.
Yeah.
So it is. So,
that's why they're either way.
yeah. So I'd like to see it, but I guess I'd like to know that the MBA is motivated to want to do it. I don't see that. So that's what I'm going to leave it as. In that case, we should do it. Buffy?
Well, I would love to see it happen, but as Kevin said, last September, the positivity rate was less than 1%, now it's up to 4.6, and people are double vaxxed and all of this kind of stuff, so that's a little scary. I'm still a little confused on if the MBA gave it up and the village took it over because you were heading up Community Day. Is now the MBA responsible for?
Well, I'm responsible for it, so I just said the MBA is doing it.
And you don't feel like you want to do it because of the?
I don't feel comfortable having Community Day.
If you're the one organizing it and you're the one, you and Mary Alex are the one doing all of the work, then I would leave it up to you to make that decision. I think that based on what you're saying, it doesn't sound like a great idea. It's unfortunate. I think maybe we did a smaller version of it, maybe just had the farmer's market and the library did their thing on the lawn and we promoted something that was very social distance and, small, like this event's going on this time, here's a farmer's market at this time, and local businesses will, I don't know, you have to come up with.
Do what they want. I mean, it will be scaled back because the parade is canceled.
Yeah.
The baking contest is canceled. We didn't want people all passing around food.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of the stuff that we expect with the Community Day is not going to be there, right? I mean, the pie baking contest. We used to have this thing where Mary Alex said, if you got junk to sell, here, we'll put out a list, and they can go to these addresses and find, garage sales and stuff, right? That was part of Community Day, right?
Was that community? No, that was a community yard sale. That wasn't on
Oh,
Community
that wasn't Community Day?
Day. No.
Oh, okay. All right, fine.
That was a community yard sale that she did a couple of years.
But it seems like you guys did a lot of work to prepare.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, we did so much work to prepare, and this year I've kind of been sitting back, with the brakes on, thinking this is not a good idea.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want us to do it, it'll be very low key. It will, the ASPCA would like to come. Carrie would come.
Who's the second one?
Carrie Institute.
Oh, Carrie's, okay.
Still not sure about the Millbrook Garden Club because there's an event at Innisfree later. I don't know what the fire department is planning, if they're still going through with it.
Kevin, Militant News wants to come.
I'm sorry?
Militant News?
Oh, yes.
I just think, I'm on the fence about it, unfortunately. I don't know what's right or what's wrong. I mean, as a business, I've been shut down twice because of it. I mean, so, is it worth one day for something to happen to another business? I don't know, but it's just, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't be more decisive. It's just,
Right.
it's a hard decision. On one hand,
I
I
know,
think
I
we should
think
have it, and the other hand, I think we should cancel it. But I think that really, if you and Mary Alex are doing all the work, then maybe you guys should just make the decision.
But what's sad is that we're not really doing the work because we don't want it to happen. So, if you want it low key, we'll put up the banner and whoever wants to come can come, but it's not going to be a big day.
Mhm. Okay, so you're going to go ahead, Leslie?
I mean, I think across the board, we're all kind of in the same boat where I would love to see it. I'd love to see families have something to do, kids have something to do. It is outside. I worked at a summer camp for 8 weeks and, we had one case, it was all outside. That one case was kind of held in and there was no outdoor activity camp. So, I mean, there are horror stories, but there are also, a lot of things going well.
Right.
With all of the masks and everything. If we can keep it low key and there are different businesses or groups that want to do something, it would be nice to have something. But again, I'm not the one planning it, and that it comes down to that. I can't make a decision for someone else to have to do it.
What happens if it rains?
It's canceled. I'm praying for rain.
What do you hope for that?
Yeah.
If it's anything like the weather we've been having.
Okay, so anyone in the audience want to put in their 2 cents? Matt?
Oh, good.
Sorry I was late, we had a call.
Yeah.
I don't know what I missed. But fire department, we plan on still doing something, if
Okay.
you guys are doing something. We're gonna have an open house, try to sell a raffle tickets that we're in the process of trying to sell. My opinion, I think it should still go on. Milton's Community Day is the same day, Pleasant Valley's Community Day is the same day, Hyde Park's Community Day is the same day. So you're not gonna get an influx of a lot of people. You have the Orvis Game Fair that's going on the same weekend. They're mostly outside. The Community Day is 75% outside. So they're not canceling. They just did the 175th Dutchess County Fair, and 1550 of that was inside and outside. They didn't cancel. I just think canceling Community Day for 2 years in a row shouldn't happen.
Okay, anybody else? Howard?
Are the Foxhounds going to be there?
They're usually part of the parade, so I would say.
They were part of the parade, but we're not doing the parade. The rec department doesn't want to do the parade. And the rec department, we had thought about doing an obstacle course, but I'm not sure if you were here for that. They've canceled the obstacle course as well.
Well,
Which would have
I
been out
would
on
say
the-
it's a personal decision of the people who are going to show up or not. That's the first part. I don't think you're going to get a lot of people, in my own opinion, it's just my opinion, because you're not going to have the full event, and people are worried about the COVID spiking up again. But I'm not one of the decision makers, so, I mean, you would have to decide, people who are in charge of things, what you want to do.
All right. Seal?
Can restrictions be put in, and I don't know what the laws are? Can people who are on the sidewalks have to wear masks? Can we separate, can we keep people so it's limited to single file? I hate to see it, I agree, that I hate to see it be canceled again. And I do think everybody else is having anything, I think it makes me sort of sad that no one won't have it. But I don't know what kind of limitations can we put on it.
Matt, do you know all those other areas haven't put restrictions in?
Not that I'm aware of.
Anybody go to the Dutchess County Fair?
I haven't been there in 10 years, so no.
Yeah, me neither, I
I
know.
don't think there was any type of mask mandate or anything.
No, they
And a lot of
did.
people were encouraged, if you
Yes.
were, you know, if we were encouraged to, and obviously if you're not vaccinated, you're told to, but I don't believe there were any other restrictions.
And I think that's what you'll get sorry, not to cut you off. I think that's what you'll get in the community. If people aren't safe, they'll put a mask on. But, I mean, are you gonna cancel the farmer's market for the next, up until October? That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, we just discussed that, right?
I mean, this is one
And-
day.
And my answer to the farmer's market is we don't get as many people at the farmer's market as we had a
But
community.
there's still events there that are selling food, and
Yeah,
this
okay,
is one event, one day,
okay.
my opinion. I'll shut up now.
So, Seal, if you put restrictions in place, you'd be all supportive of it?
I am supportive of it, but I realize that if anything happened to this bad, but I feel like we're having concerts, we're having other outdoor parties, they're doing things at the rec center. I realize it's limited to the sidewalks. To me, but if we could force people to really be spread out, I don't know, I don't think it's a bad idea. And I think children maybe should have to, or non-vaccinated people should have to wear masks. I don't know if you can do that, though.
Hard to enforce.
Yeah, I don't think you can enforce it.
Okay.
Kids under a certain age can force it, they can't be vaccinated.
Yeah, but how do you tell?
Who's gonna tell them to do it? Where are you gonna put a sign? How do you do it?
I'll do that.
If you have the CDC coming out and saying that you don't have to wear a mask if you're outside, you have a hard time trying to convince people to, well, you know, you have to wear it outside, because we're a little more nervous about it than the CDC is. It's just not an enforceable thing. Even sitting here tonight, I'm trying to take the mask off while I speak, but put it on, because even indoors, you know, CDC says you should be wearing a mask indoors, but
Well, I know, and I agree with following the CDC rules, which is what I was saying. Outdoors, you don't have to.
Lily?
It's difficult to decide either way, you know, on the one hand, I'd love to see the community day because it brings the community together. But on the other hand, you know, COVID numbers are really on the rise. And is it worth even one person getting sick or losing a
Yeah,
single
okay.
person? Is it worth that? It's gonna be watered down anyway. There's not gonna be much activities and, we're probably not gonna have a large turnout anyway. I would like to err on the side of caution.
Okay. All right, David, Nan?
I don't know, I'm torn. You're saying community day is to bring people together. Bringing people together is exactly what you don't want to do with COVID.
Interesting way to put it.
And it would be a lesser event than normal, with less participation and probably fewer people attending. And then you get to the point where you say, well, is it worth it to put the effort and energy into it if there is going to be a limited participation on the one side and a limited response on the other side? We're talking about public health, and I guess my tendency would be err on the side of caution.
Okay.
And the teaching, the thought of having children and their enthusiasm getting together and sharing whatever is a potential time bomb. And that's what happens. Even though they may be separated outside on the sidewalks, the potential when you've got an unvaccinated young population like that, anything can happen. And that's why I think it's better to be cautious and say, no, we're not going to do it.
Do we know the vaccination rate in Millbrook?
In Millbrook, it's actually
Washington?
You know, but the county is still running about 55% fully vaccinated. I think 70 something is at least one dose.
It's a hard decision.
All right, so what I'm hearing is a lot, I think, between the middle of the road and towards the negative side of it. And I guess it goes back to you, Kevin, who either has to put in a lot of work between now and the next 2.5 weeks, and even then you don't know if you're going to get the kind of participation that you need from the
I mean,
businesses.
the library is going forward
Yeah,
with their literary festival and the
which they can do anyway. They have
programs for the
festivals
kids. Yes.
standalone.
And the farmer's market will be
The
happening.
farmer's market is there.
I think you will get participation, because if you think the fair had participation, all these camps all summer have participation. I do think, yes, it may not be the same as every year, but you don't want that. You don't want the same as every year anyway, but you still will get the families who want something to do, who want to get their kids out. So although you may not get the participation, I think that may be a good thing. You're going to get a balance.
Is it just coincidence that our community is falling on every other?
It's a great day to
I
have.
think it's because September 11th is the week before on
Yes.
Saturday.
Oh,
So a lot of people aren't doing,
Right.
Yeah, everybody
because
moved.
normally that's when our community day would be, is the weekend after
Right.
Labor Day.
right.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
the
a lot of
20th
community days
anniversary.
on the same day. So that's a.
They always overlap though,
Right.
because usually like we
There aren't
said,
other many days you can spend, you know.
Yeah. It's up to you, Kevin.
It really is. Because Kevin, at the end of the day, you have to do all the work to get it to go or not, right? I think what I'm hearing from you is you don't think it's worth it. Right?
Let's take their word now.
I'm sorry?
Let's take their word now, here. Just learn their experience.
Is that sufficient for you? I mean, is that what we should do?
Well, I kind of wanted to hear what the board thought.
All right, you heard.
I'm a no. I know people will be disappointed,
I know.
but I think if we have people coming down with COVID, I think they'll be a little bit more disappointed.
Mhm.
Those are the disappointed that we didn't have it.
I don't like the decision, but I certainly understand where they're coming from. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of hard to argue. And to force it at this point, it's not going to come off well. And you always have a downside possibility if somebody contract, whether they got it there or not, it'd be very easy to point a
You
finger.
don't know where,
Right.
somebody's going to go.
Never really get it.
So I guess erring on the side of caution is probably the best way to do it.
You want to do a roll call vote, just to,
Sure. Sarah, do you roll call vote?
Mayor Covey,
No.
Deputy Mayor Herzog,
no,
Trustee Cantino,
No.
Trustee Arbogast,
No.
Trustee Hanson.
Yes.
Good for you, go against the wind.
It's not going to get Lisa, I guess.
Yeah, it is. All right, so Kevin, what are you going to do then?
I'm going to Disney. No,
What did you say?
Going to Disney.
He's going to Disney.
I'm going to cancel it.
Okay, fine.
I know the library will still do it, the literary festival will have it, but
Yeah, can you notify the library first, thing, just so they know you're canceling, just so they don't go
yeah,
away?
they knew that we were
Okay,
still deciding. And,
okay.
okay, thank you.
All right, fine. Okay, anything else to discuss on that? Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, that's all was on the agenda. Any final updates from anyone? Any final shots?
not on that topic, just wanted to announce that we still have a spot open on the Shade Tree Commission, and we're looking for an arborist experience to advise the village on appropriate tree removal. We also have that large position open for any town resident or village resident who would like to join. So if anyone is so inclined, please send a letter of intent to the office so we can entertain that idea.
Okay, good. Vicki, anything you want to add?
I don't know.
Okay, Buffy, anything?
No.
Leslie? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, thank you. Here's what it is.